loud. Okay. So let me start over once again. Welcome, Anne, and glad to see you. Thank you for tolerating my stalking and joining us to show us about quilling, which I have always been interested in. I have found it to be beautiful, but a little intimidating. And I'm anxious to see how you simplify this for all of us. So without further ado, I will turn it over to you and take it away. We still can't hear you. I think you're muted. It shows that your phone is on mute.
Oh, there we go. Am I there?
Yep, we hear you now. Great.
Oh, okay.
Hi.
I'm actually a tech person, so this is really extremely frustrating that I am not being able to figure this out. I apologize. I have a 3D printer printing for my students for projects for school. So in my office. So I'm self-taught. Kind of newly at this. I want to jump right in because I don't want to waste time anymore for you guys. I stumbled upon this for a lesson for remote learning, and I did it with construction paper with my students, and then got a kit online on Zoom, or not Zoom, on Amazon, and then kind of just started playing with it on my own, and has turned into a bunch of commissions with pet portraits mainly. So I have, we have 2 rescue dogs, and then I have some neighbors who have rescue dogs. And so I've done quite a few pets in paper, 1 human couple. But yeah, so the nice thing, I can switch, I might screen share my, I can just go down on this file. Is just going to be easier for the sake of time. I can, so I've, with my students, I've done this with a bunch of different things. Like we've just done it over Q-tips. We've done it over pencil barrels. We've done it over paintbrush handles, different sizes. It is much easier to do it with the quilling tool if you have it. There are the electric battery ones, but I haven't really cared to do it. I kind of like the manual control, but it is a little bit more time consuming to do that. I just started working with the bigger strips, but I have lots and lots of paper. So I'll pull this up here. Sorry, my office is a mess. But I started out with the 1/8 of an inch strip, which is the little stuff, which I think if you're starting out, you may not want to be that ambitious, but it's just a little bit more tedious with the fingers. So the wider strips are probably a little bit easier if you're just learning. But if you're up for the challenge, I started with the 1/8. I did recently learn, and this is something I just noticed or just read from Quilling, I think Quilling paper, Quilt Creations. I saw something that they recommend actually slicing the package, like on the side here, and then that's how you should pull out your strips, so that you keep them stored in the package, which actually makes a whole lot of sense, because otherwise you end up with a bin like this and you have all of your papers all tangled in. And so I actually wish I had learned of that sooner because it would have made things a lot easier with storing papers.
Quilling, we love them. We love it.
So any questions before? I mean, I can just start kind of sharing initial quilling tips, or I mean,
What
kind of let you guys.
What kind of paper would you glue stuff onto? Like what's the substrate that
Okay.
you work on?
So I initially started on, so that was kind of a trial by error as well. So I originally started on Bristol board, or like a paper like that. Here, let me so you're not looking at my chin. I originally did one, actually have it up here. So I did this one on, I think it was a Bristol board paper, but it like buckled like with a glue. Like you can see, I don't know if you can see it with the light, the way that the light's hitting it, but it.
The paper buckle, the base buckle?
Yeah, the paper, yeah, like with the moisture of the glue, it kind of wrinkles. It doesn't sit, it's a little bit too, it starts to, like when you add watercolor to paper, it can kind of ripple. You're adding enough glue that it kind of starts to waver. And so then I had switched, I'm gonna pull this one out actually. And so then I had switched to watercolor paper, which if you get the heavier weight, the higher pound, like the heavier weight watercolor paper, it does work. It's a little bit thicker, but it will still actually buckle a little bit. But it's doable, but then it's like, well, I feel like you're wasting. I mean, I don't know. Like, I mean, I guess you're not really wasting watercolor paper, but it just feels like it's not. So yeah, this is like, maybe this isn't even, what did I do this on? Maybe I did this on white sulfite, like drawing paper. I think I might have done it on drawing paper.
You use illustration?
I frame them and, it's thinner than that. I think it is a thin Bristol paper. It's smooth, real smooth paper.
Could you use illustration board?
So then I switched to like the mat board, the illustration board.
Okay.
And that works a lot better. So there's an artist I follow on Instagram. It's Yulia Brodskaya, and I can type it in the chat.
Great.
She does amazing stuff. She's a year younger than me, and she does phenomenal stuff. I think that's her last name. But she's on Instagram, and then through that I think there's a bunch more people that do paper quilling that I follow now on Instagram. My Instagram is I'll put it up there. I can spell it. That's my Instagram. So you could probably find me and then find her. But she does amazing portraits and florals. I mean, she does phenomenal stuff. But she actually I had asked her once what she usually does with what she puts her stuff on, and she said like an illustration board, like a mat board. So that's what I switched to, because it's much more like firm, and so like even with the gluing, it doesn't buckle. And so that's much better. I have done where some tutorials will have you use like a pin to kind of pin them in place, because sometimes the glue will like release the curl. And so that's something I've done, so you can see all the pinholes on the back.
All right.
So I have a cork board that I got, like you hang on the wall. So I've done that on that. But I guess that could be personal preference. But I'm doing a big one, and I'm doing it on a canvas. So it's a stretched canvas. And I'm not doing it with the pins. But I guess anything that you can secure. I know some people do hot glue. I just use clear. I did do white glue, white Elmer's glue, but I didn't like the little white film that it would leave. And so I switched to the clear transparent glue.
Okay.
And then I bought a pack of these, like you can get them in a kit. You can also get a package of these, like fine tip.
Oh, that came with my kit that I got it. Yeah.
Yeah. But you can get like a whole bag of them on Amazon for pretty cheap. Do cap them with the little rubber plastic things that they come with, because if you don't, then you get glue stuck in there, which you can just stick a safety pin in there and unclog it,
Okay.
which is what I usually do. So, because I get lazy and then I fall asleep quilling, which I've done this week, and not done it. So, but the precision glue helps because you can control the amount of glue you get on the end of the strip. That way.
Jarena says that she also uses thin cardboard food boxes as the substrate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can do that. Yeah. So it's just, you know, yeah, again, I'm just kind of playing with different materials and finding different things that that work. I know that Yulia, who will record her process and put it on Instagram, sometimes she'll paint like behind the quills so that there's color behind it, or she'll put paper down, she'll like glue paper down, which is what I'll try to see if I can get this on the screen. This is my most recent thing that I'm doing. So it's a 16 by 20 canvas. So I am gluing paper down and then quilling on top. I think I'm gonna build on top of this with more quills. But it's been a long process so far. So, but yeah, it's a stretched canvas that I had sitting in my home, and I was like, oh, this looks like fun. I'll try to quill on that and see how it goes. So yeah.
And
What I like about,
can I
Go
ask
ahead.
a quick question? What's the best paper
Yeah.
for quilling, for the actual quilling part?
the best paper for actual quilling, usually it's Japanese pant paper. It's not quite cardstock. It's kind of in between. There are several companies that sell it. You can get it on Amazon. The thing with the companies on Amazon is usually you buy like a multicolored kit. So if there's a certain color you want, you can't just buy that one color. There's Quilled Creations. I'll put it in the chat too. There's Quilled Creations, which I've bought paper from and I like, and then they're pretty fast with shipping and they offer sales pretty frequently. And they'll give you free paper too. So like a week or two ago, they would give you the Ukraine colors for free, and I think they were donating proceeds to Ukraine relief efforts. And then there's Quilling.com, I think. There might be other. I haven't found local stores to really have it.
Okay,
Vicky
thank you.
has a
I will.
question.
I was just, I'll check that out. Thank you.
Vicky asked, when you did this with students, did you cut all the paper for them or have them do that?
I had them do it, and then I really didn't stress measuring. What was nice, I mean, so the advantage of having it all the same size or width is that it's the same level with the students, because we did it remotely too. And even if I did it in person, if they used different widths of strips, the quills then just were different levels of height off the paper. And so it actually was really cool because it had just a little bit more of a sculptural relief. So I didn't mind that they weren't, like I didn't stretch it, one, because we were remote, but two, I thought it was really cool to have that different elevated effect. If they got too wide, I think it affected the way that it kind of curled. Well, and then we were using construction paper, so it didn't roll as smoothly. But I mean, I'll have to share some student works, but I've had, and I would do it on a small scale. So with students, I would recommend going like 4" by 4", or like no bigger than 6" by 6, like go smaller, just because they'll get overwhelmed, because it is a little bit more tedious, but it is also nice for kids who may not feel like they're confident in their drawing and painting ability. Like this is a lot more forgiving in that sense, and they can come up with their own design. And but yeah, I know people who've used like a shredder that will do just the straight shreds and then done it that way.
Paper cutter also, yeah.
Yeah, like the paper cutter. Like I might do a little bit of either. Like a mix and match of like having some pre-cut strips, but then also having the students cut their own, but not necessarily being strict about the width, or if I have the budget to support buying some of the prints. I thought about experimenting with like the scrapbooking paper. If that's, I don't know if that, it might be too thick, but to see how that rolls, but it's not printed on both sides. But even though so it might be like if the scrapping paper must have to be the ones that have the prints on both sides.
Florence asks what age you teach.
I teach middle school, 6th through 8th grade.
Okay. Thank you.
And I did this with my 6th graders. So, and I had some who wanted to buy the tools, so they went on Amazon and bought the tools themselves.
Oh,
And like they bought the actual quilling tool. I was like, you don't have to go buy it. But they wanted to, and so their parents were okay with it, and so they went on Amazon and bought it. So, but yeah, I haven't tried it with anybody younger than 6th grade. So.
all right. So
I have a thought, if I may.
Oh, go ahead.
I've seen it done with the younger kids, 5th grade, 4th grade, where the teacher will start by giving the kids a flat piece of cardstock or, and then basically cutting the corners of a square, folding up a very shallow box. And so they may start with that as their substrate, and they can work within the box, a shallow box.
Okay. Tracy wants to know what's the best non-quilling tool to use.
I actually had students use like a bobby pin, because you could slide it through, like the ones that don't have the jagged, like the ones that are just straight on both sides, because you still have that slotted effect, like the slotted tool, but then they can still wrap it around. I've also had students who've done well with just like snapping one of the heads off of a Q-tip and using that, or the barrel of a, when we were remote, I gave them a paintbrush, like a really cheap paintbrush, and they used the barrel of the handle. The thicker the barrel though, you don't get quite as of a tight kind of quill. So I'd recommend like a toothpick or a Q-tip, like the barrel of something like that. That's a little bit narrower. A bobby pin is nice, or you could, sorry, go ahead.
Wooden skewers work real well too.
Oh yeah, wood skewers. Yeah, that would be good, because those are a lot longer too to hold on to. Or you could duct tape the bobby pin to the end of the skewer, just so they have something you could kind of make your own.
That's true. Okay. So show us how to do this.
All right, you ready?
Yes.
All right, I keep moving my phone and realizing that's where my audio is. If the 3D printer is cumbersome, I can pause it. I don't know if you can hear it coming back there.
It's fine.
All right, so I'm gonna angle this down. I might have a pup intruder here.
Hello, puppy.
Yeah, that one's Thor. And so really the nice thing about quilling is it kind of scaffolds naturally. So the first one, and I would recommend with students, I would go wider with the strips too. So with them, I did, I think we did 1/2-inch strips or 1/4-inch strips. We didn't really go thinner than that unless they really wanted to. So, and then I also linked a bunch of YouTube videos, like a playlist of a bunch of tutorials that they could watch as well. So the key with quilling is that you want to, when you're rolling it, you just want to make sure that you're rolling it directly over the, like almost like a little tiny roll of toilet paper. So we did this with computer paper first before we did it with the construction paper. And then of course they're all like, oh, it looks like a little tiny roll of toilet paper. And I was like, well, that sounds like something a middle schooler would say. And so
So do
and
you,
I have only gotten one. Go ahead.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
I would say I've only gotten one paper cut in all of the time that I've done this.
So
So
you
once
just,
you just keep rolling it, and you want to make sure it's nice and tight. Sometimes if you lose it, like, you know, I've lost it before and I just kind of you repeat it.
okay.
So that's one of the first shapes is, whoops, well, I just flung it again, is a tight quill. Oh, and I'm gonna re-roll it.
Oh, mine got stuck.
Yeah. There are tools and I haven't used it.
There are tools,
Yeah, it's
what?
like there are tools that you can roll against to keep it straighter. I'm just trying to find mine that came with the kit. I just tend not to use it. I've tried it. So you may have gotten one like this where it's like this
Yeah.
if you
What
got
do
a kit. So
Oh, is
you
that
can
what-
put it, I don't know
okay.
if I can do it with this tool. This particular strip is too wide, or I might have to go this way. Hold on. I don't use it, but if you're one that really wants it to be super straight, I have found it to be more cumbersome than helpful, but for others it might be something that's helpful. But then it allows you to keep it aligned. Holding wise, I don't really know how to hold it. There might be a tutorial on it, but from my Amazon kit. So you can, once you like get it to a tight roll, you can leave it. This is one of their like initial shapes is a tight roll. So you could use that as part of the design that you're doing if you need it to be. And so if you wanted to keep it that way, you can just open the little flap and then you would just put a little dab of glue on the end. And then I usually give it, you know, a couple second hold so that it's secure. I feel like it just takes a few minutes, like a few seconds to kind of grip.
Do you always use the entire strip of paper?
No, I do not. So there are times where I have to puzzle piece in shapes. And so I will cut them into halves or quarters or eighths, and to piece them into smaller spaces. So on the flippers here, these are full strips, and some of these are like quarter or eighth strips. Like these are probably that's probably full strip, tightly wound. That's probably like this pink one right here is probably a half or a quarter. I can't remember. I did this about 2 years ago.
Okay.
So yeah, you can cut them in half. So the shorter the length, the smaller the piece will be. And I've
Right.
glued things together to make them longer as
Oh.
well too. So I've made, like, if I wanted to make a bigger quill, I've taken 2 strips together. Like I'll do that with this one and let it sit for a second. You know, you can.
Now, if we
Oh,
want
that
to
one.
not glue this tightly coiled, how do we know how much to release? Like to let it open up?
Let me roll another one because I glued my little one here. I'll roll another one. I've kind of felt like it depends on the length of the paper. So how much you release it is kind of dependent on the length of the paper you use.
Like if I let go of this, it's gonna like spring wide open.
Yeah, you don't want to. Yeah, so you don't want to let it go completely. So it's kind of a controlled release.
Right.
So I'll show you in just a sec. I'm going to pull this one off. So I kind of cradle, this is how I would show my students. I would cradle it between one thumb and index finger and then the other one kind of just behind. And so I would kind of gradually, with the glue on the end, I would just kind of gradually allow it to kind of unwind.
Okay.
And then I usually go, I don't know, it's hard to say. I mean, I usually, where there's, you know, equal spacing between all of the rims or with all the coils. I have found that if you go too much when you add the glue to the paper, it does tend to release a lot. So then your coil tends to unwind after you've glued it on the paper. And so you don't want it to be too unwound.
Okay.
And so then what I'll do then, once I get to my kind of point of stopping, I kind of grab it on the sides so it doesn't loosen anymore. And then I turn it, and that's how I glue it.
And then how do you apply the glue to glue it to your substrate?
I will. I mean, I really just kind of puddle it down there. Sometimes I just take the glue bottle itself. On my canvas, I've been just pouring the glue out from the big bottle. With the board, I might control it a little bit more. So I'll just put a little dab of glue. I don't know if you guys can see that. So I'll just kind of cover the surface area where I want to put the piece. And then I'll put the piece on top, and then I usually kind of press and hold it, you know, for 10 to 15 seconds, just so that it kind of grabs, those edges of the paper grab into the glue. I
Okay.
don't recommend using glue stick. With students, we tried it, and the glue stick just doesn't hold it, and so all the quills would fall off. So
Right.
liquid glue is preferred.
Angel, I think we're using 1/8 inch or 1/4 inch strips.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, mine are, the one I just glued down is a 1/4 inch. I do have 8
Okay.
or 5 millimeters. Some of them are sold in millimeters, some of them are sold in inches. I can't remember.
So you buy it or you cut them?
Mine I buy. I'm too lazy to cut them. So, and that way I know that, at least for consistency wise, that I'm getting, if
Yeah,
I'm buying from the same manufacturer, I'm getting the same color. So,
thank you.
so that first one, so this one's called a loose coil. So that second one, I should say. So you've got your tight coil, you've got your loose coil, and then I can show you some other shapes. So everything really comes off of, for the most part, is based off of a loose coil. So I'm gonna start another one. Sorry, I think my husband just got home. Close my door. This one I'm going to open up a little bit more. So I did loosen it a lot more than I did the yellow one. Again, it doesn't really matter. The more you loosen it, it's just a little bit bigger. Again, it kind of, when you play with it, it's just more personal preference based on what you're trying to do. I'm all about experimenting to figure out what you like and don't like. So I'm going to glue this into a loose coil. I'm going to hold that down for a second. And then, I have one. And then to make a teardrop or a raindrop, what I'll do is I'll pull the center of the loose coil one direction, and then as I take my index and thumb, I'll pinch the other end. So I kind of took the center, oops, I didn't wait for it to glue long enough. Sometimes that happens. And there are variations of the teardrop. So once I've released it, try to hold it with my chubby fingers here. kind of see its pattern there.
Okay, bye, Shelley. Thanks for joining us.
Beautiful.
We'll see, that's a nice
And
narrow.
so
one.
then, yeah, and you can kind of push it back out. And then there are variations where you can curl the top. So you can do it over a pencil or the tool. If you want to kind of give it a curl there.
Oh, like a paisley, yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
I'm gonna look up a sheet real quick because I usually have a list in front of me of all the different ones. Hold on. So there's, you know, depending on how much you curl it, you can get different degrees of the. The teardrop is one of my favorite ones to do just because I like how it fits. So like I just play with it. But that's the one. So then I could glue it down. I know, you know, it depends on, you can always make your quills and then figure out how you want to piece them together. I kind of quill and paste at the same time. It's just, you know, I don't really have any. I'm going to make one half the size. So this is a half strip of what I was just using. So I'll make a half one. So from the teardrop, you can make the marquee. And then the slug. They have different names depending on which tutorial you watch or Google image you pull up. So I pretty much just Googled quilling shapes. And so there's a image of there's more than just this. So these are some of the, so like basically kind of scaffolds from there, like, and then can kind of get into some of these other ones. I'd had students that kind of just made up their own, which kind of ended up looking like some of the other ones.
Those are kind of neat.
So I would show them kind of the basics all the way up through the teardrops. I'd show them kind of a square or triangle, but then I would have them kind of experiment with their own shapes. So I'm going to make this one a teardrop, and then I'll just show you the size difference between a full length and a half. So this is half versus full strip.
Okay, so it is much smaller.
Yeah.
Can you show us
And then some of
maybe how to do like
Go ahead.
a basic flower with different petal shapes?
Sure.
Okay.
I can do that.
I have to go grab another glue. I'm having trouble with my glue. I'll be right back.
This one's my double strip. I'm gonna throw that one up.
Okay, I'm back.
I have found that there are a lot of tools that I don't really use. There's a bunch of other things that are out there that I have and thought I would use and haven't used. So this one is my 2 strips glued together. So in a tight curl, it's much bigger than the single. The one thing I was going to show really quickly, so if you wanted to do this for the center of your flower as opposed to a loose foil, I'm just going to grab these. I was thinking about it. I've gotten these where you can wrap the paper around them to create frames, but I haven't really used them much. They come in different shapes. I thought about making paper quilled earrings, but they're not as easy as I thought they would be. If you take a tight quill and then push through the underside, you can kind of create a cone or a curve. There are tools or trays that you can push it into that are domed, but I have found just using your fingertips creates a nice little dome if you wanted to have a domed center. So I'm just pushing. I'd probably glue it first.
You just push it in the middle.
Yep. Yeah, I'm just pushing from the underneath side. And then what I'll do too to make sure that it doesn't flatten is I'll put some glue on the inside to kind of keep it from collapsing. I learned that the hard way. I have on my butterfly, I have some that I've glued and some that I didn't.
Everything is trial and error.
It is. And I can still play with this a little bit. But if it does collapse on your paper, I've taken a pin tool, like a sewing pin, like the one with the little ball on the end, and just kind of put it on the top and just kind of force the edges up a little bit. You just have to be careful not to do it too much because then you'll pop your coil all the way out. What color?
So this requires a lot of patience.
It does. I enjoy doing it, watching TV with the kiddos. I don't sit in movies, or I don't sit watching movies downstairs easily, so I have to multitask to pay attention.
Right.
And so it's nice. I find it easy to pick up and set down. So it's, when watching shows or just hanging out in the family room while the kids are playing on their tablets. On this one, I'm going to do a 1/8 strip just for fun.
So you would spread, if I wanted to do the raised one, the button, you would just spread the glue around the inside? Is that what you said?
I did just to kind of hold the papers in,
Uh-huh.
because it'll kind of keep it from, like, you'd have to press a lot harder for it to collapse.
Right.
It just
Now
kind of
would-
helps hold those.
Use your
Up.
finger to spread it on the inside, or?
You
maybe-
can. I just use the tip of a glue bottle.
Okay. I think this was not, I don't like how it came out.
This one was two papers glued together, so the domed ones might be easier with longer strips.
Yeah. I have one that I tried to do right here.
Oh, yeah.
You can see it, but it's not an even swirl, if that makes any sense. It's like
Oh,
it
yeah.
comes up, it comes up evenly, but then there's like a big hole in the middle of it. Can you see that?
Oh, yeah. What are
Not
you curling it over?
I have my handy dandy
Okay.
curling thingy.
So I keep it as a tight coil.
Oh, okay.
So when I
So
do
the-
when I do the doming, I don't loosen it.
Got it. All right, so I'll try another one.
And then there was a question about subjects that I encouraged my kids to do. I had students do everything from, I mean, they got to choose. I didn't really restrict them on anything. I had students do flowers, cars, some did landscapes, had Among Us characters, or different cartoon characters. What else did I have? Amazing how in a year I can't remember what they did. But I had a wide variety because I usually let the kids choose their subject matter, so that they, have more buy-in and personal voice. So my only thing is like no weapons or inappropriate references. That's really my only
Zoe.
caveat. So I had some do like the letter of their names. I had, an initial.
That's a cool idea. So just so you see, my cat decided she wanted my kitten. She decided that she
Yeah.
wants to play with my coils. She's got it right in the middle of this. Oh my gosh.
So on this one, I'm going to create so I'm going to do another shape. I'm going to create a loose coil with this one. This one's one of my 1/8 inch strips. That's a lot thinner. I haven't worked with the 8 strips in a while. I'm doing the 1/4 for the big canvas one.
You're eating my
When I did
coil,
my
Zoe.
demonstration for my students, I did I think I did a paint palette and a paintbrush as my quilling example. I bet I have it somewhere here.
That's a
Find
cute
it.
idea.
With construction paper. So for the next shape, I'm going to start out like I'm doing the teardrop. I'm going to pull the center and then pinch opposite side. So it's going to start out like a teardrop, and then I'm going to pull the center towards the side I just pinched. Kind of hard to do it when now I'm pulling the center to where I pinched, and then I'm pinching the other end. So then what I'm creating is an eye or a marquee.
Okay, got it.
And so from here, I could make it into, which one was I showing before? I could make it into a crescent moon. I could make it into a slug or an S shape from the marquee. I could even make it into a diamond, this curved square or a diamond shape. So they all kind of tear off of each other, which is nice.
I like that wave.
Which
The that
one?
was at the top, whoops, the top right corner.
Oh,
The
this, yeah,
red.
that one's called the slug, but it's also an S. I've seen it called a slug or an S shape. I guess
Yeah,
it just depends on the image, but yeah. So then that's just like creating the teardrop. You just then curve one end up and the other end down.
Right.
Is that a website that you're looking at for all those examples
I
of?
just Googled quilling shapes.
Okay, Quilling shapes, thank you.
Yeah. So there's a bunch of different ones. This one has like a heart. Oh, there it clears out. There's another one that has a bunch of different ones that are more open. So these ones you don't close, you just curl the ends.
What size background substrate or whatever do you normally limit your kids to? Like,
Sorry, say that again.
what size? I can't think of what you call it. Long day. I'm gluing these coils on. Whatever size, what size do you normally have your kids use? There.
I would go, yeah. So what size background? Or
Yes,
paper,
background,
like I would say
background.
base
What size
layer,
background?
yeah. I would recommend, so with my sixth graders, we did a 6" by 6", which was probably a little ambitious, but I didn't make them cover the whole surface. So I kind of gave them a range. I said, you know, because we're standards based, so I said, I think it was like 40 to 60% of the surface had to be covered with quills. So they had, you know, a range in which they could decide how they filled in the composition.
Okay.
So
maybe a 4x4
I guess
might be more reasonable. Or
yeah,
whatever.
you know, I mean, you don't have to, you could do it on any size format. Yeah, but I would say smaller is probably better. I would say just making sure you know your students for sure. If they were advanced students, they probably could go a little bit bigger. Or if they're fast workers, or they get the hang of it, they might be able to go larger. So we would do a lot of practice. We did a day of just practice and play with like just computer paper strips, just to kind of get the hang of it. So, I'm gonna I made an S shape here. So I'm gonna make a couple S and then start my flower. So you could leave it as a marquee if you wanted to. website even.
I'm surprised these kits don't come with, like, at least the samples that you just showed us on your tablet.
Oh, with yeah,
Like they come with all the
Amazon.
tools, but they don't show you all the different quills you can make, which doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, here it is. The company that I had gotten some paper from and I'll put it on, so on Amazon, I've gotten a lot of like multicolor kits from Joya. And so they have on the backs of some of their papers, they do have kind of a snapshot.
Nice.
But
Okay.
it's, I mean, it's obviously all in Japanese, but
Yeah. But at
they
least
have at least have a picture.
you can see samples and get ideas and said, I got this gorgeous kit, but I have no idea what to do with it because there's no examples.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay.
So
Jeannie, you're asking about the length of the construction paper. I think we're using pre-cut strips that look to be about, oh, I don't even know.
With my students, we did 9 by 12. And then I had them cut the 12-inch length. This one I think is like I have several different strips from different companies. This one I think is about 18 inches. I have some that are shorter.
Mine are
So you can
15,
buy them in,
which is a weird size, but
yeah, I don't know where my ruler is. Oh, here it is. Yeah, they come in varying lengths. Oh, this one's more than 18. This one is probably about 20. So I have, depending on the brand or the company. So this one, just over 17 inches. And then I have one that's like 20 from a different company. So it just depends on the company.
Tracy's asking, oh, you see the question?
Yeah, I see them. I have them up. I allowed them to reference photos on the internet, but I really try to stress them coming up with their own composition. So they could look up things, but then they would draw it out in pencil, and then they would piece in kind of their spaces. And then the other thing, I know the artist Yulia, she will do like a border of paper first and then fill in the spaces. I found that to be harder for me personally. So things that I needed to border, like I needed like a line to border. I wonder if I have, oh, there it is. I have a Winnie the Pooh and Tigger that I did that with. Hold on.
Oh.
So I did Winnie the Pooh and Tigger, but I bordered it with a piece of paper, a strip paper. So I just found it to be easier to do everything else and then border. And then I did that after I did the belly. So like if you need to border something, it's easier to do the quills first and then put the the line around it.
By bordering, you mean wrapping the image around the outside of the quills?
Kind of, yeah. So I actually took, no, I didn't do it on the shirt here, but I actually took like the orange paper and then like ran it around the perimeter of the Tigger.
Okay,
I don't know if you can see that.
yeah.
So this is actually on the watercolor paper. You can see that it's not flat.
And that's really thick paper too.
Yeah, it's one of the heavier weights that I could find. And then there's like times where there's pieces where I did a strip to outline like his mouth. So there's like a black strip of paper. And so I would put the quills in and then glued against the side of the quills that strip of paper. And I think I might have wrapped it twice so it was a little bit thicker to create like that definition between spaces. Unless I did it on anything else. This one's a full one. I don't think I did any outlines on that one. This one. Yeah, I did a Cubs one. Anyway.
I just wanted to ask about how long does it take for your kids to finish like a small project? You mentioned that you work on 4x4 size paper or boards rather.
So yeah, so it would take my sixth graders I see for 9 weeks. And so each project would be about 2 to 3 weeks from like start to finish, and that would include like skill builders and critiques and reflections. So I would say once we got into the heart of it, probably a week and a half to 2.
Okay.
I mean, I think we also went bigger. So we were doing 6 inch by 6 inch. So, going smaller, and then they were using much bigger strips of paper.
Oh, okay.
So a lot
Bigger than
wider. Yeah.
wider. So like more than an
Yeah, I
eighth
had
or
them do
4.
1/2 inch.
Oh, 1/2 inch. Okay.
Yeah.
Would you recommend a 1/2 inch for like a beginner?
Probably, and then especially for kids who struggle with fine motor.
Okay.
For my multi-needs kids, I did paper ripping. And so we did like to make your own cupcakes. And so they actually just, instead of rolling paper, they actually just cut like or ripped paper and then pieced it down. So they were still collaging with paper, but they weren't trying to roll the paper. We were also remote. If
Right.
in person, it might be where like I might do some things rolled with them, or have the aide do hand over hand rolling if possible.
Thank you for answering the question. I think someone else had the same question, but you answered it. Thank you.
Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah, sorry, I saw that now.
Is there a book maybe that you can recommend that you liked, or you just YouTubed it and experimented?
I did a lot of YouTube videos. I can share, I can look it up real quick too. I can share my playlist that I put together. I know there are books out there. I just didn't rely on them as much. just because of accessibility. I found that, I mean, obviously for students, and it was just easier to do YouTube. I know Quilled Creations does specific kits, like you could get a kit to do like a specific design.
Mhm.
Pull up my playlist. And then really a lot of it was, once I kind of got started, a lot of it's been just kind of playing, but then also like following artists like Yulia, and then watching her process and then asking questions of those who put their process on Instagram or Facebook. Just asking them how they, if they wouldn't mind sharing their materials or their process, like more information about all of that.
When
If I
you
can
work
pull
on
up my,
when you work on something, do you start from the inside and work out, or do you do like sections of the same coloring?
Yeah, similar thoughts. Maybe not.
I sketch it out. I kind of work from the inside out. I do the subject first and then do the background. But I usually draw it lightly in pencil so that I have a framework to kind of work within. The key is though, if you want to erase any pencil that might be visible, you got to erase it before you put the glue down, because the glue will keep it from being erased. So I think that's part of the reason why I edged some of the Winnie the Pooh and Tigger, was because some of my pencil lines were showing. And I didn't really feel like at that time, well, actually you can still see some of my pencil there. So I guess that's where the background might be advantageous, or I could even go in with some watercolor and play with that, but I'd be cautious with, some colors do bleed. So I know like you have to be careful with, depending on the company. I found some of the colors can bleed a little bit.
Is anybody working along with us? Anybody want to hold up what you're doing and show us? Oh, look at that, Vicky, that looks really great. That looks really great.
Oh, nice.
That's good, Jeannie. Oh, you're making sample.
Nice.
Yes. I did a couple of sample shapes, and I'm trying a flower with different colors. Just trying to get the hand movements, I guess, more steady.
Yeah.
And practice the how much to let it uncoil before you pinch it. And
There's mine. I don't know if you can see, it's kind of dark.
where's yours?
Can you see
Oh,
it?
there it is, Carolyn.
I can't, my cardboard's so big, I can't see what I'm showing you, but I think it's in the camera. But yeah,
Bring it in a little closer. It looked like a bunch of the tight coils.
it's tight coils and some of the teardrops. Okay, can you see it? I can't see what I'm doing.
Nope, can't see it yet.
Okay, can you see it?
Nope.
Wait, hold on. Let me
Yep,
put down
up a
this
little
chair.
more, up a little, and up higher and to your right. There it is.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you made multicolor
Okay.
ones too.
That's
So I
nice.
am
Yeah.
hand making my colored scripts because I forgot about today until I saw the email. And I immediately emailed my husband that I needed, when I asked you whatever it was. And we finally found one on the way home from school. And then my scripts are just copy paper cut. And I am using Tombow like brush tip markers. And it goes down it really fast to add the color.
Oh, that's funny.
That's my improvising.
That's funny. Here's mine. I'm just playing. Whoop, there it is. Just playing around. But yeah, it's a
Those
little
look
awkward
nice.
at first to get used to how to hold everything and when to
Yeah.
let go.
It's definitely a lot of fine motor skills.
Yeah,
It's something kids need these days though. But I wonder, like, especially over the past few years, like your kids, students now, are they having more difficulty than they did in the past before the pandemic and virtual learning and all?
that's an interesting question. I think they were having problems before the pandemic.
Yeah,
If you look at just their handwriting alone and how they hold pencils, it was evident before the pandemic even happened.
yeah. I
Um,
I agree with that, but I think it's even worse now. Like I teach elementary, and some of them and doing some of the things, they just don't know how to do basic things that kids used to know how to do with their hands.
I have a question. Since you guys there's a lot of elementary age teachers. Do you know if they teach cursive anymore in school?
It depends. I've seen it go in and out of Texas. Sometimes they do it, then they don't. Then they do it. I have an 18-year-old that's about to graduate in Texas, and he does not know how to write his name in cursive. They did not teach it when he was in school. He makes
my
it up
God.
now. He makes up his own thing because he's a little embarrassed, but yeah,
Oh my God, that's crazy.
they think typing's more important now than cursive.
No, it isn't.
I know.
Because you fill out a job application,
I know.
they
It's
have
like
them online, but I mean, how do
you see
you,
all their signatures, they look like kindergarten, handwriting.
yeah. And my
It's the
kids
same
and
everywhere
my
else,
kids
too.
are in high school, and you tell them, sign your work. You're the artist, sign your work. And they print their name because they don't know how to sign their work. It's just amazing.
Is that the same? Are all y'all in, some of you, not all y'all are in New York, are you?
No,
No.
no,
Is it the same
usually
in every-
we only have like 2 people in here who are actually from New York, and everyone else is scattered all over the country, which I love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Canada, they don't teach it, but some do it anyway.
I have high school students who, there was one year that they actually asked me to teach them cursive in high school. So I did. I get,
See, art teachers do it, like take it under their.
it's just crazy. LYOT. Okay, this is your playlist that you posted, Anne?
That's actually one video, but I'm gonna create a playlist because I'm not on my school account. I'm on my personal, so I'm gonna create one in my personal right now.
Can you email it to me? And then I can
Yes,
forward
I can.
it to the mailing. That would be great. Thank you.
Yeah.
You're in South Africa, Florence? Wow. What time is it over there right now?
It's actually 2:30 in the morning.
Why are you
Oh my
awake?
goodness.
Oh my God.
I'm awake for this.
Thank you.
Well, it's an
Wow.
honor.
Wow. You
Yeah.
deserve
That's
it.
incredible.
I'm
Welcome
actually sitting and marking as well.
Wow.
welcome to our group.
You
That's
deserve
Thank
a big
you.
hug. She deserves a big hug.
Yeah, really. I think you're the furthest person. We had somebody want to attend from Australia, but they couldn't. I think you are you're further away than England. I had an England person also. That's crazy. So you're in Georgia, Jeannie. Okay. We have a lot of people from Virginia and Texas. Trying to remember where else I remember people. California.
New Jersey.
New Jersey, that counts. North Carolina, hello. Say hi to my brother, Glory. He's in North Carolina too. Washington State, my goodness. So you're early over there now. My brother is in
Fuquay-Varina.
thank you, Fuquay-Varina. I'm not even sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Ontario. It'd be cool to do a road trip and visit people in each state from on here.
Mhm.
Oh, Raleigh, okay, Arizona, awesome. This is the coolest thing.
Yeah.
No, it really is. You get to meet really great people that you never would cross paths with in your daily life. And you guys are all wonderful. You're wonderful. All right. Wow, it's 8:36. So I figured you guys want to go a few minutes longer, and do you have anything else you want to show us? Oh, there's your playlist. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, there's my playlist. It's got 3 videos in it right now, but I'll link a few more. Those were the ones I kind of shared with students. But I will, I can add more to that playlist. I mean, I'll show if there's something that somebody wants to know how to do. I'll gladly show more.
Did you tell us your favorite quill already?
My favorite shape is the teardrop. I find that to be the easiest one to fill in spaces. Most of my stuff is a combination of the tight quill, the loose quill, and the teardrop.
The quill being just the circle.
Correct.
Right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So like the tight being the one that's really nicely tight and wound, and then this one is the loose
So that must be
quill,
awesome.
and then I just lost it. Where'd it go? But then I feel like that just will fit together well when you're trying to piece things together.
Guys,
I
if you
did in
are
one of
on my
mine.
mailing list, I will send you Anne's playlist for the videos. If you're not on my mailing list, just send me or text me your emails and I will add you. And then everybody will get the playlist. Okay.
How do we know if we're on your mailing list? If we get the confirmations or?
If you got the flyer about this group through email, otherwise you may have seen it on Facebook.
Yeah, I saw it on Facebook. So how do we get on your mailing list then?
Okay, let me post my email, and if you want to join the mailing list, just send me an email and then I'll add you automatically.
Great, thank you.
Okay, there you go. Great. Okay, I'll copy you down.
The other thing I should mention is you can do this 3D. You pull out. I started but never got very far with styrofoam balls.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
That could
So
be a nice
playing with,
ornament, an ornament project.
That's
yeah,
beautiful.
so like doing kind of ornaments or like little creatures. This one is the start of an angel. So maybe by next Christmas I'll actually have it done. Like I've seen little animals, which I might start playing. I have a bunch of these from Amazon. Amazon's my go-to, of different sizes. But you can see I have them pinned in. So this has been sitting here since probably November to hold them into the styrofoam. But, so yeah, I've seen a lot of 3D like eggs for Easter.
That's a good idea.
And ornaments and things like that. So
I keep thinking I should have a session of just, catch up work, finish what we started kind of a thing.
yeah.
I have so many half done projects that I started on these sessions and never got around to finishing. So we should have
That's fun.
a session. Mom, did you make a pom
Yeah.
pom? What is that?
Made a tassel
Oh,
for this.
oh, for your God, I almost said God's eye. Can you believe it?
For the CD weaving, because I decided to work on this because I couldn't find any of the materials today.
Okay. That
So
looks
you
great.
mentioned a day for finishing. That's what I've been doing.
There you go. I might do
Yep.
that next because I don't have another session booked yet, unless anybody wants to volunteer. I saw Katie Curlia on here earlier, but she must have left. Maybe I'll track her down for a gourd lesson. We were talking about gourd art in our last session. Very interesting. I actually put a book in my Amazon shopping cart about gourd art right after that, and I haven't ordered it yet. You know what's cool? I can go shopping to my heart's content on Amazon, throw everything in my cart, wait a day, and then go back and say, do I really need that? No, I could put it on my wish list instead.
You know something, while I was in Michael's this afternoon, the only thing they had for this project was the electric quiller,
Yeah.
and it was $30. And
wow.
I wouldn't spend that on something I've never done before.
or may not do again.
Yeah.
I said it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, I haven't found Hobby Lobby or Michael's to really have any of this particular equipment. So Amazon is kind of where I got all the
Hobby
tools,
Lobby had
and then I
this.
tried.
Had this for $4.
So
Michael's had nothing, but Hobby Lobby had
Yeah.
the basic thing.
When I
for
was
$4.
looking online and I saw that Walmart had the tool by itself, not in a kit online. So I thought I'll go
Oh,
there
okay.
and I'll probably find it, and they had nothing in the store, nothing.
Thanks for joining us, Tracy. Have a good night.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
There
we
is
don't
one
have
question about
Hobby
how to-
Lobby in New York, so.
I
I refuse to stop there.
I think there's one out on the
All
All right,
island.
good night. All
The
right,
trick
have
to
a
having
great
quills
night, and thank you,
even-
everyone.
Thank you.
It's
feel like
about
that.
20 to 9, so I
Thank
think we're
you.
gonna call it
Yeah.
an evening. And thank you so much. I
Thank you, Ann.
appreciate your stick-with-itness with the technology issues.
Yeah, I apologize for that. I'm so sorry.
No, it happens. It's okay. It's okay. I will get this video posted by the end of the weekend, the very latest. And I will try to track down something for our next session. So stay posted. All right.
Hey, Vicki, do you want me to answer your question real quick?
Yes. What was the question?
She asked about having things, about rolling evenly.
Oh, yeah.
So I often, especially with the smaller, thinner paper, I usually use my fingernails. This one's all being ridiculous as well.
Because when I unroll it, it's not nice and even. You know how you want that even spacing? Like, is there like?
Yeah. So sometimes I just use my fingernails. I just roll it in between my two fingernails. I think that's where this little like rolling buddy comes in handy. Is like using this to roll against. Because then
Did
you
you
can
mean,
get it.
Vicky,
especially
when
with the-
you let go? When you let go? Yeah, I can't. I'm having
Exactly.
the same
When I let
problem.
go, it's not nice and even, the spacing. Like after I let go.
Right.
Oh,
Does it
okay.
need to be?
I just kind of do it gradually. So I guess it's kind of practice. I mean, so when I do it, I just kind of gradually hold it and just kind of slowly allow it to release.
It's
If it
practice, I
doesn't
guess.
unroll, yeah, and then I kind of flatten it with my fingers. But then if it does roll unevenly, I kind of pull it. I kind of pull it back a little bit and then so I kind of finagle with it or fiddle with it. I kind of get it. Sometimes I just unravel it and re-roll it.
Okay, I just have to be more patient then. Okay.
Yeah, it does take some patience.
Yeah,
So.
mine are all uneven too. It's just gonna take practice. I could see some of my kids getting really frustrated because it doesn't, it doesn't look like the picture.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's practice. That's all. All right, girls.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much. And thanks for joining us and being part of the group, and stay in touch. If you have questions, let me know. And I will definitely email everybody the playlist from Anne. And if we don't have a session before the holidays, I hope that you all have a happy and safe holiday coming up.
You too.
Thank you. All right.
Night.
Good night, everybody. Thanks again, Anne.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for being patient with me.
No problem. Have a good night.
All right, you too.